It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Edinboro's assistant women's lacrosse coach, Coach Riley Kendrick. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college lacrosse?
Yeah, I think it's my first year on the staff. Coach Anthony Trini, gave me the opportunity to coach this year, but I think going back, my whole family is coaches, played lacrosse. I've been around lacrosse, my whole life. Obviously growing up in Syracuse, New York, it's a hotbed for lacrosse and, going to UNC for college. So, I've been around lacrosse forever. I had the opportunity to take this and I took the opportunity. So it's awesome.
What was that experience like for you going to UNC and also going to SUNY Oswego?
Yeah, I'll start with SUNY Oswego. So coming out of high school at CNS in Syracuse, New York. I always knew I wanted to do sports broadcasting, but probably being, 17, 18 years old. I was just a little bit, immature, probably didn't, know a whole lot. So, I decided to kind of stay home. Like I said, always wanted to go big, but went to SUNY Oswego, great broadcasting school, Al Roker, Steve Levy, a bunch of names came out of there. So I went there and was actually only on campus for, one good semester. And then my second semester, COVID came, which was unfortunate. So, spent a year and a half, in my house in Syracuse. Oswego was only like 45 minutes north, but stayed home, um, you know, made kind of a brand and a name for myself. Sent out a bunch of stuff to a bunch of Division I schools, big time schools, and was in contact for UNC with a while and it was always, a dream of mine. I loved UNC since, I was 9 years old. And that was the path. And Dr. Charlie Tuggle, a huge mentor of mine, huge supporter of mine. He was the dean, the assistant dean at a UNC and the journalism professor and everything like that. And gave me the opportunity to come and took advantage of the opportunity. And I loved my time at UNC. It was the best decision I ever made.
Coming to UNC, what was that experience like for you coming to UNC growing up, knowing that you loved UNC?
Yeah, I loved it, since I was 9 years old. A funny story, my dad was actually he's from Pennsylvania, kind of where I coach. So he grew up a Pittsburgh fan. Obviously living in Syracuse, a huge rivalry, going back to the Big East days, as you know. So I would go into class, second grade, 9 years old, and I told my teacher I didn't want Syracuse to win the NCAA tournament. So, I was in elementary school, second grade. So they print out a big bracket, probably the size of that TV behind me, posted up right when you walk in, and it's bigger than you, right? You're in elementary school. And she goes, who do you think you're gonna, is gonna win? And I said, well, not Syracuse. And she's like, oh, you want Pittsburgh, like your dad? And I said, no. And she's like, all right, here's the bracket. And I was like, is the number one seed good? Is 16 seeds good? She said number one, and UNC was right up there. And I was like, UNC. She's like, oh, I hate UNC. 2009, they won the national championship. Ever since then, UNC fan. And then, my passion was sports broadcasting, covering sports at the top level, and got to go there. And just like I said, anybody that could get the opportunity to go there or attend school there should. UNC is the best of the best, and it's just greatness and success that comes out of there.
What was that experience like getting to work with the Daily Tarheel?
Yeah, good experience. It was actually funny when I went on my visit to UNC. I wanted to do everything, and Dr. Tuggle, Dr. T, we called him. Dr. T said, "Just get here, and we'll figure it out." I wanted to write, do radio, do broadcasting in front of the TV, which I actually did all of them. And he said, "Just get here, and we'll figure it out." Got there. My first opportunity, I think, it was with Sports Extra, which was a broadcasting show at UNC, but also Daily Tarheel. They kind of went hand in hand at the time for me. So I joined them both at the same time. The Daily Tarheel, a student newspaper, gave me a lot of opportunities. Covered the top sports in the country at UNC, and then with Sports Extra. Sports Extra was just the best. Being in front of the camera, behind the camera, doing a lot of documentaries with them, 30 for 30 styles, when a team wins a national championship. So Sports Extra, I actually got to do this funny. I actually got to write for the Daily Tar Heel, be in front of the camera for Sports Extra and behind the camera, and I got to do radio for Carolina Connection. So I got to do all three. Not a lot of people can say that. And I did news, Carolina Week. So I did all four. Um, I'm sure there's people that have done all four. I have no idea, but I'm one of a few that did all of them. So yeah, what it was just I took advantage of every opportunity that was given to me. You know, you had to make your breaks, and the more that you do. Oh, and I did documentaries too behind the scenes. So a lot of stuff just come to my head. You know, make your opportunities, take advantage of them, and that's what I did. And I think that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am today because of just all the amazing people at UNC giving me the opportunities to do things.
What was that experience like for you working for the Inside Lacrosse?
Yeah, Inside Lacrosse probably came because of my work at UNC. Inside Lacrosse is small, the biggest lacrosse media outlet there is in the world. Not a lot of people there. Grateful for Terry and them hiring me on, and I still work there actually as an intern. So probably my work at UNC with the sports and the lacrosse knowledge that I had, they gave me an opportunity. Probably the youngest, that might be my email. Sorry about that. Probably the youngest evaluator and scouter and recruiter in the country when it comes to that. So the sports, like I said, at UNC and covering lacrosse at all those avenues on TV for the paper allowed me to go to Inside Lacrosse, and then they gave me a lot of opportunities, and I've worked my way up. You know, as an intern, traveled the country, I guess, the Northeast, you know, scouting players and evaluating the best players in the country and in the world. So, I'm still working for them, still evaluating, still writing stuff for them. So, Inside Lacrosse is amazing. My bosses, Emily and Alyssa, they're just amazing people, and they've given me a lot of opportunity there too, as well.
Coming to Edinburgh, what was that experience like becoming assistant coach for the first time?
Yeah, coming to Edinboro. Yeah, Coach Trini, yeah, he hired me on in the summer right when I graduated. So I did my 5th year at UNC. Just wanted to make a name for myself, just keep, you know, making my brand. Had that opportunity because of COVID. So took that, and then I think he just yeah, saw something in me. I just super determined, super passionate about what I do. My worth ethic is at an all-time high and just keep getting better. So I think he saw something in me and yeah, hired me, and yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I can't say, you know, any more words than that. It's just it's awesome the opportunity he's given me.
What was that feeling like for you stepping onto that to the lacrosse field for the first time?
Yeah, yeah, soccer and lacrosse actually play there. So yeah, yeah, stepping on there my first time, I think it's pretty surreal. Just coming from the TV industry, right? You know, covering players at the top level, interviewing them and working with them and telling their stories. And then it's like, you know, coaching kids my age. There's girls on my team that are my age, right? So that's a maturity thing, and you got to mature. And you know, I was ready for it. Ready just to help them, you know, develop into the best lacrosse players that they can be, but you know, the best people that they can be too. So, you know, stepping out there was awesome. You know, it was pretty surreal, honestly, to be like, you know, I'm probably, if not probably one of the youngest male coaches in women's lacrosse right now in the country. So, again, like that, you know, I was obviously the youngest, you know, at Inside Lacrosse and evaluating the talent there. So, you know, one of the youngest out there. So, you know, I'm just a student at heart. And we just had a girl come and visit from Las Vegas yesterday, and we're sitting in with a pre-med nursing kind of department. And one of the professors turned over and he's like, "Yeah, you got any questions, coach?" And I said, "Listen, I'm just here soaking it all in. I'm a student at heart. I love learning. I don't know everything. There's just so much that I'm still learning. So, stepping out on that field was awesome, and we're gonna break records here and just keep doing with success here."
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your athletes
What does the game day look like for them?
versus for you? Hmm.
Oh yeah. So for me, I actually haven't, I mean, I can talk about the fall since my first year here. For the fall, um, typical game day just like looks like, I guess if it's on a weekend, we come in here, a couple hours before the game, just get things, well, if it's an away game, get here early. Girls need treatment and stuff like that, get that done and, hit the bus and then go where we're going. We played like 5 different play days this fall. I think for us coaches, we prep all week and we just get here and make sure we got our game plan because you're gonna wake up and things are just gonna be different. So you just kind of gotta adapt with the punches. And so I think to answer your question, I haven't had an official game day yet because it hasn't been the spring, but for the fall, just coming in and doing what you got to do and then going out there and executing it. So.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so on our side, Slippery Rock, Seton Hall, or Seton Hill, Gannon, um, Lock Haven, and IUP. Those
What
are some teams in the conference.
what is that atmosphere like when going away to teams like Slippery Rock versus coming and having Lock Haven play home?
Yeah, I think like I said, I haven't experienced that yet. So I think just hearing in the past, I think, just a crazy kind of atmosphere. But I think, for here, we're just trying to build, something here. Coach Srini took over a couple years ago and, they had a lot of coaching turnover. So he really had to solidify and build that concrete and that base. So I think, for us, just hopefully, getting a lot of fans in and breaking records here and, just keep moving forward and with the process and the years to come.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes?
Yeah, the recruitment process, we can't talk to girls until September 1st of their junior year. So, sophomore year is a big year for them. I think the recruitment process is different for every girl. Obviously this is coming from like an Inside Lacrosse standpoint, and it's being different with a coach. But I think the recruitment process looks different. You can obviously talk to coaches. Coaches are watching you at a young age. You can go to prospect days. And then maybe talk to the coaches a little bit. But I think, the recruitment process is, you know, September 1st comes, you can talk to coaches, have your, list of schools and you kind of just go through the process. We're always talking to girls. I mean, we're still recruiting for the class of 2025, which they're seniors in high school. We just had a girl come from Vegas yesterday. We got our prospect day. So we got girls coming from Florida, Canada, all over the Northeast. They're coming this weekend and we're going to offer them. I think always just staying in, communication with these girls. Everyone, like I said, and this is the biggest thing I could tell girls is everybody's recruitment process is different. Your time's gonna come. So, just trust the process and always reach out to the coaches and send film and hopefully the coaches doing their homework and it's gonna find you the right home.
For you as a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that jersey for the first time?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't experienced my first game day in the spring, but I think it's just an honor to where not a lot of people get to play college athletics. So I mean, for them, we got a good group of freshmen coming in. A lot of them are gonna earn playing time this year and possibly a starting role. So I think when they put on the jersey, just it means a lot. Playing for Edinboro and a lot of girls get this opportunity. So, putting on the jersey, respect that. Respect's a huge thing in our program and just going out there and compete.
What would that feel like to see them putting on that Embro jersey for the last time?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be set. Coach Torini, this is actually an interesting story. So when Coach Torini took over the program a couple years ago, the year before, a lot of the girls transferred because they didn't think they were going to have a team, respectfully so. So, the coach left and he didn't have a lot of girls. So, there's actually girls on our team that were not lacrosse players, and Coach Srini's kept them, since because they've rode with him since the start. So, we actually had some soccer players on our team that, came over as freshmen, just got more playing time as lacrosse. So, it's cool to teach them every single day and just develop their game. And I think it'll be sad, seeing them put on that jersey. But hopefully, it's a good thing. They're going to go out into this world and do great things. And hopefully, we can help them get to where they want to go.
As a coach, what does that look like seeing those players going into playing professional lacrosse, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the national team?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't, obviously, my first year here, but I've been around a lot of girls that have played at that level. When I was down at UNC, some of the best players in the world. I've seen USA, Canada, England. I had a buddy play on the boys side for the team Haudenosaunee. So I think it's really cool seeing them, play for Athletes on Unlimited and now the WLL, the PLL, the women's side has just started. I think it's cool to represent your country and be, USA has a developmental program. I've evaluated and scouted girls that are in that program, going to be in that program, and then would be the highest honor of, representing their country on the biggest stage. If it's not like U18 and as they move up through the ranks. So it's the greatest honor, and there's not a lot of girls that can do it. So if you can get there, that's super cool.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Future plans are just to build it. We got a good 25 class coming in. 26, we're talking to a lot of girls. We got a couple committed. I think just, what Coach Trini's visions are, always support him and build this program up. But I think for us, it's just gonna take that next step. Like I said, I've been around the best players in the country. And I tell my recruits this, the best players in the country, the best players in the world. So I know what it takes. And I've seen it. I've seen it at the youngest level and at the highest level. So, bring them in. I always tell our recruits that, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, and I'm gonna bring in the best talent that I can possibly give you. I'm going to surround you guys, with the best talent because I know where the hotbeds are. I know where teams and coaches are not looking. Does not matter to me where you are. As you can tell, I'm huge into that recruiting world, and I got the TV behind me. We're always watching film. So, for me, I'm always going to go around the country and just recruit the best of the best. But here's the difference. I know, what the UNCs, the Boston Colleges, Northwestern, Syracuse need. But I also know what we need. There's a difference. So, I know, what they need and what we need. So when I'm watching film and I'm watching girls at these tournaments, yeah, just bringing in the best, possible talent and building this program up to what it can be and what the visions are.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college lacrosse?
Yeah, the thing that I tell the girls are the hardest thing that people don't talk about is being a student athlete. You got to be a student and you have to be an athlete. The games, people are going to tell you the game's faster and more physical. That's what people are going to say in the X's and O's side. But I think for me, it's hard. Doing the student piece and being the athlete piece, going to classes and those time management skills and doing your homework so your grades don't drop so you can actually play. And I've seen it right firsthand. So I've seen it from girls and guys. So what I tell them is, you earn your playing time on the field and in the classroom. And we allow our girls to be teachers and nurses, which is hard. So our girls can, do their clinicals. Our girls can be the student teachers. So that's hard too. So we gotta, adjust our schedule, around them and our practice time. So, but I think the part that coaches don't talk about enough is the student athlete part and them coming in and having to do the schoolwork and having to delegate their time and playing lacrosse. That's the hardest part. So that is the thing that I tell those freshmen.
What advice would you give those lacrosse players that have aspirations of playing professional lacrosse?
Yeah, just to keep pushing. There's off the top of my head, there's a 2027 in my head that goes to my high school. Actually, I'll say her name, Mia Gates. She's a really good lacrosse player, one of the best in 2027. And I'm always texting, with her and her dad and giving her advice. So for me, I think it starts at that young age, right? What am I always telling them? Two things: never lose your creativity. Growing up, watching Lyle Thompson, the Thompson brothers. They played like they played in the backyard. The Kavanaugh brothers at Notre Dame played like they played in the backyard. So never lose your creativity. And I always say catch everything. Catch everything that you can. And do the things, the little things, well. We have 4 years. I'm huge on player development. But those things that you're good at, do them, even better. And let's get the things that you're not good at, just a step better. So like the things that like I tell her, because that's a girl, for example, that, could be in the USA system and then move up and be on the senior team. So, I'm always, hone in on your craft. And, if you're a strong righty, for example, how I learned to play with my left hand, I looked in the mirror. So everything I did with my right hand, I'd, emulate. I look in a mirror. I'm like, all right, like, where are my hands? All right, so that's what I did with my left hand. That's how I learned how to play left-handed. So I think know the things that you're not good at, and know those things, and then try to get better at those things. So I'm always giving advice to the younger generation, and because their aspirations are to play at the professional level. So and that's just one example of a girl. So. Yeah, there's many examples.
What advice would you give those players looking to get into coaching after their playing time?
Yeah, I think advice that's a good question. I think, advice that I'd give is if it's something that you want to do, um, I guess I think what I think the biggest thing about the sports world and what I've noticed is about who you know. Those doors will open up with the people that and they'll open doors for you. So, keep your eyes and your ears open and always build those relationships, right? The backbone to what we are as people is the relationships that we build. And that's what I do with my players and what I do with my recruits. So it's the connections that'll help you, open those doors. And so I think if you're an athlete trying to get into the coaching profession, leverage on who you know. Maybe it's your current coach. Maybe it's a coach that you had at the high school or the club level. And reach out to them because, the lacrosse world is super small. Everybody knows, I was just at a convention, the women's lacrosse convention down in Florida. And, I was catching up, with some coaches and, my aunt played lacrosse at UConn. I met her coach who now coaches at Temple, a great coach. For example, I was catching up with Phil Barnes, UNC coach, one of the assistant coaches, and there's many others. So, use those connections that lacrosse world's tight and just leverage on that. That's what I'd say.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you out on social media along with the program?
What'd you say?
Where can my listeners find you out on social media along with the program?
Oh yeah. So obviously Edinboro Lacrosse, that's what we are. But for me, I think it's Riley Kennedy 25 on everything. Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Thank you again, Riley Kennedy, for your interview, and best luck in your future at Edinboro as the assistant women's lacrosse coach.
Hey, thank you, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Riley, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, Brandon. You too.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.